Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the channel, of course. I'm Anna, in case you're not aware. Duh, I'm pretty sure you are. Look, either way, we're going to be talking about the angel Fortunata today. She's the angel of prosperity. Now, as always, before I get into it, just a reminder. I do understand if you've been watching a lot of the videos, it's going to be a bit repetitive at the beginning. I do put the timing chapters in. You can skip past it if you want. If you're finding the angel content interesting, you can always go and check out the angel playlist. I've got shorts there that give you a little bit of a taste test. If you want to watch the full length video, it might give you a bit of insight and establish whether or not this is an angel that you're drawn to today. I might actually put a conversation in the yarning video on what you can actually do as more of the content is loaded. You could actually be able to go into the playlist and just ask your guidance to take you to an angel message that's relevant for you that day. And for now, though, I think we should just crack on. As I say, thank you for joining me today. And let's talk about Fortunata right now. So, in the first instance, she is part of the cherubim. So, she's considered a cherubim angel. And her goals of creation include not just prosperity is right up there, but basically good fortune, wealth of spirit, and an imperishable quality of the soul that endures for an eternity. Quite a big one, really. On the material plane, there are other aspects of prosperity which she can assist you with, and that is to create abundance in your life. Many people struggle to manifest wealth and they feel deprived on the earth plane, and we're going to talk more about why and how this can be addressed over the next slides. For now, though, let's just take a look at the angelic hierarchy of the cherubim and what that actually means. So, being a cherubim or of the cherubim order, it's impossible to talk about them without talking about the seraphim at the same time. And this is because both. Both. Okay, no, that's not right. This is because the seraphim and cherubim are dual aspects of each other. When we talk about the other angelic orders, we're talking about genderless type angels. Now, obviously, angels don't have gender because they don't procreate, but the difference is with the seraphim, they will always present in a masculine form, and the cherubim are always going to present in the feminine form. This is my understanding. There's a distinction between them. Now, both the seraphim and the order, they will manifest, if you're lucky enough to have the gifts of clairvoyance, with bright colours, very bright actually. If you want to know about this actually in more detail, you can do a Google or you can ask me a question, and I may or may not I'll speak to it. I've just decided as I say this, I'll speak to the fact that there's 4 faces on the cherubim angels, which sounds a little bit bizarre. Now, the other thing is too, I should point out that the images, of course, that I put up of angels, they've got feathers. Angels don't actually have feathers because they are light bodies. But their mission in life is basically about empowering people. And this is to give them miracles, if you like, and the seraphim are more focused on the provision of miracles and the release of guilt, but the cherubim still do that as well. But you'll find that when it comes to the cherubim and Fortunata, obviously it's about creating the abundance of blessings and prosperity, of course, because we are talking about Fortunata, is something that people can feel guilty about. And this is why we've got that link there, I guess, with the cherubim and Fortunata. What's the other thing? There was something I was going to say. Okay, yes, cherubim auras, from what I understand, and I am always open to correction from other people's experiences or hearing their experiences, but my understandings and experiences are that cherubim are actually quite a small type aura. But they can be a conversation perhaps in a yarning session one day, or when we develop group conversations. Her primary message, of course, is that on the material plane, freedom lies in the balance of being able to use and enjoy abundance without feeling as though our lives depend on it. And to be able to hold this attitude, we've got to have a positive mindset, a supportive mindset, and combine this with healthy emotional body and creative aspects. So this is all part of the parcel, but additionally, we combine it. When we are manifesting wealth, obviously we've got to secure our connection to the Creator, and this is about having a deep faith. So, the angel of prosperity also shares the information that when we're talking about abundance, prosperity, wealth, all of this kind of stuff, that it is readily available, it is always available, and it is accessible for all. And we will magnetically attract it to ourselves. Now, in addition, constructive desires, those are the ideas or the divine idea. It could be something like many years ago, which I didn't actually action. I had this great idea that we needed to put numbers of houses on verges here in Australia so that ambulances could attend more quickly. Now, realistically, it wasn't something I actioned. Somebody else picked up on that idea. They actioned it themselves. This is years and years ago, but it was a good idea. So we would consider this one to be a constructive idea and one that is divinely inspired, that requires somebody to put this creative idea into action so that it becomes manifest. All right, so that's a principle. Now, the other part of creative principles is we create what we focus our attention on. When we're focusing our attention on lack or deprivation, of course, all of our thoughts are fixated on that, and this is what we create. When we are trying to create prosperity and wealth, then we focus our thoughts and attention onto the idea that we're attempting to manifest, not the idea that I need money, I've got to have money, I want to make money. It's not about that. It's putting the attention onto this vehicle that leads you to that pathway of prosperity, because it's all about a divine idea. So she explains that the idea becomes powered and charged by the emotions and the feelings that we hold about this idea. And as we power and charge up this idea, which is if you check out manifestation videos, it's about holding a vision of what that end product looks like, and that will magnetically attract to you the things that will help you to fulfill your desire. Hopefully that makes sense. If you want to add a comment, please do so. So I jumped ahead of myself when talking about the creative principles with visualization and belief and emotional power there, when we're talking about financial prosperity and wealth, okay? Her message is, well, in regards to money, currency, that it's simply a form of creative energy, okay? We've got this myth, if you like, that money is somehow evil or it's good. Very few people actually think money is good, but it's not money that is actually the issue. It is the way we use our personal energy to create money, how we earn it. Because at the end of the day, money is, as she says, it is just the end result of creativity. It is somebody making something using their energy, they are producing something, and then they exchange that product for money, okay? And that money that the other person has is generated as a consequence of their own creativity. But she definitely goes further to explain that when we have this belief in scarcity or not having enough, lack of money, poverty, like, oh, I'll never have any money. If that's what you believe, if you believe that you're trapped in poverty, then you're going to develop pockets in your energy field that create and reinforce this idea of lack and deprivation. So she explains that trust is really vital to the process of creativity and drawing financial abundance to you. If you wish to manifest financial abundance, one, you've got to learn to understand the creative principles and practice them. And the other thing is you've got to be able to trust your own inner guidance and be able to discern from, what is the mind chatter and what is your divine guidance as you work towards your goal. Now, she also says, as you practice this process of manifestation of wealth, you're going to transform your understanding and develop a deep faith. And the deep faith is also what is required to see this manifestation process through to fruition. I like this quote of what the mind can see and believe the body can achieve. Okay, so this reinforces the creative principles, especially when we're talking about money. So, once again, the message is only your belief in limitation and lack is going to prevent you from receiving the divine abundance and accessing this supply of things for you that you desire to use for what we call quotation mark right use. Okay, right use is the divinely inspired idea, and this would be what you're trying to manifest and achieve. Now, she does explain there's a very delicate balance between desire and wanting something, and you will know this yourself if you've attempted to manifest anything at all. There is this, I want it because I want it, right? That's not necessarily a constructive desire, because if we want something, a constructive desire is more along the lines of we want to do something because it's for the greater good of not just ourselves, but other people are going to benefit from it usually. That's pretty well a good indicator of if it's a divinely inspired idea. But anyway, there is a balance between wanting to do it and feeling driven to do it, and whether or not there's an appetite that you have in your energy field with old patterns of neediness, I need it. And you're encouraged to pay attention to your own beliefs and your behaviors around money, your wants and desires, and to establish, are they wants, are they desires, are they needs? What exactly is your driving force for attempting to manifest money in a particular instance, shall we say? The key here is basically that when you're attempting to manifest, you're feeling driven to achieve something based on a constructive feeling that aligns with your personal truth. It's part of your, or you feel that it's part of your divine idea and the divine plan because you're actually paying attention to your guidance. So, this part of her message is about expanding your sense of self awareness through doing a little bit of a reflection on what you do, what you think, how you behave, and things like, do you focus on material objects and worldly success and still experience deprivation and poverty? Is this something that you have to live with and endure in your life? Have you, because these are limitations, beliefs in limitation, right? Have you denounced money and all things material and found yourself becoming depressed? These are so restrictive approaches to life, and they definitely are blockers. Now, I don't know about you, but I do know in my own life at one stage I did denounce money and material things. I wouldn't go as far as to say that in itself created the depression, but it certainly created this psychology, if you like, of feeling that things were hard, because at the end of the day, the earthly world, the material world, does need money. Money makes the world go round, as they say. And I've got to be honest, to this day, I still prefer a flushing toilet to having to go outside. I tried all sorts of things, actually, in the past. I went and stayed on a retreat and went without, literally, ease of even personal hygiene. It was a bit of a battle. I certainly did feel deprived at that time. I recognised it was my choice, that I'd chosen it, but this is the beauty of life. We're free to choose, if I can speak, choose again down the track. So after a little bit of that, I decided that actually, no, I want to live in a house that had the running water and flushing toilet, shall we say. Now, another indicator as to whether or not you are restricting yourself is if you find yourself very disorganized. So you might be living in the mainstream world, but you're still disorganized. You're short of money all the time. You do earn money, but you never have any to pay your bills. And so you might need to get some help organizing your finances, doing a budget, and learning to live within your means. A lot of people are living on credit cards these days and doing the old rob Peter to pay Paul. That is a destructive pattern, okay? So, in recognition of the fact that many people are struggling to make ends meet these days, there is activities that you can do around your money management, your financial management. So, one of her suggestions is, identify where you waste money and perhaps even food, okay, because you may well be wasting it in ways that you don't realise. For example, I'll use an example here. This is one of mine. I had a chat with my brother the other day who's on very high income, who happened to mention to me that they struggle financially, and even he was actually expressing that he'd never been taught how to manage his money. And I made the point, but mate, you did an accountancy degree. You might not have completed it, but you did 2 years of it. And he said, yeah, but that was different. And then just in the course of conversation, I was able to say to him, you've forgotten the principles, which is that you reward yourself down the track. We don't go for instant gratification. We work towards a goal. When we've achieved the goal, we then reward ourselves, but through a process of changing feelings of lack and deprivation. Because if a person is saving too much money, then their quality of life is interrupted in the way that they feel deprived and lack. So we want to avoid that. So I said to him, look, the idea from what I understand it is that if you can afford to buy a takeaway, for example, you might be buying 3 or 4 takeaways a week. And I don't know what you call them, fast food, maybe in the country that you're in. And I said, look, it doesn't mean that you stop buying all of those. What it means is you take a look at your budget and you go, we're not going to do it 3 or 4 times a week anymore. We're going to do it once a week because we enjoy our fast food. And the other days of the week, we're going to cook. We're going to invest a bit of time and energy into planning. And then once you have saved up, so let's say, I'll make it very simple. Let's say a person is trying to save $1,000 in their bank account for a specific thing. I want to buy a new couch. You wouldn't buy a new couch for $1,000 Australian anymore. But let's say they had this particular goal in their mind and they worked it out by doing a budget that it was going to take them 3 months to get to that amount. Well, the thing is, when you get to that amount, you don't go out and buy yourself a holiday. You buy the couch, I guess, is part of where I'm going with this as well. But going back to her advice is take a look not only where you're wasting money within that perspective, if you're treating yourself too often, it's also, are you buying the cheap and disposable, poor quality, nasty stuff because it's easy to buy? Maybe it's time to lash out, spend a little bit more, do the saving if you have to, buy something of quality that's lasting. A shopping bag, that's environmental actually as well. But I sort of find that quite often I'll buy a shopping bag and it's not made of really good material and it doesn't last for a long time either, even though it might not be plastic. So maybe it's time to lash out and buy one from calico or a very strong yarn that's going to last the distance. And you don't have to keep spending money every week or every couple of weeks. You're not... if you're buying disposable stuff, you're talking about disposable income and throwaway money. She also says take a look at things like if you're throwing away food, because if you go to the shops and you do your shopping, and I think we're all guilty of this, okay, I'll put my hand up for this, right? I have a lot of good ideas. This is when I'm not doing the planning that this person image displays here. I'll think to myself, okay, maybe, like today I was thinking, maybe I'll cook some moussaka, and that would mean that I need to go down and buy X and Y at the shop to actually make the meal. And then quite often I have these grand ideas. I bring the product home, I put it in the fridge, and then I don't cook it, and then I end up throwing it away. Well, that's become a source of frustration for me, is because I think as I'm throwing this food from the fridge to the rubbish bin, that is food waste, which is just squandering the benefits of the universe to start with, but it's also throwing away money at the end of the day. It's just spending money and throwing it into the bin. So one of her tips is you might even consider creating a meal calendar, and I probably need to do this myself. Now, sometimes if we've got a lot of debt and that kind of stuff, we might need to get some professional financial management help. And you would probably be able to find somebody online by doing a quick Google. This is just a little tip from myself. Now, I have also worked with homeless people and that kind of thing, and people that are experiencing real deprivation. And one of the things that we used to do was work with them to teach them SMART goals and how to do their own budgeting and that kind of thing. So there's lots of resources online if you were wanting to put her wisdom into practice. So just another little tip here as well is that when we're being miserly, we're actually blocking basically the flow of energy. So if you've got money and you're holding on to it and not giving anything out, denying yourself all the pleasures, not only is it blocking the energy reception, you're actually really denying yourself all the pleasures of your hard work. So there is that money, that saying, money creates money. From a physical material perspective, this is true. If you want to have a house, then you've got to be able to invest something to start with. But when you hold it too tight towards you, this financial tightness has that negative impact on the power of emotions, going back to that, okay? Because when we're miserly, then we don't feel any joy, we don't have any pleasure, and we feed those emotions of lack and deprivation because we're always telling ourselves, I'll wait until, and then I will, right? So this is that delicate balance that she's talking about, and where I was trying to explain to my brother about the fact that you set your goal, you work towards it, but you don't keep that wallet locked so tightly that you don't have any pleasure. You allow it to have some pleasure, but you keep a balance on it. You take responsibility for what you're spending. Now, another barrier, this is an opportunity for you to reflect and take a look at yourself with, because if we are closed and unreceptive, that's going to block the flow too. And obviously this little image here shows somebody in a cage. Fortunata says that basically one has to be in this energetic balance of giving and receiving. And I'm just going to explain this myself as well. Just give you a little tidbit here from mine. Is quite often when people are givers, everybody enjoys helping. Well, I think most people do. They enjoy helping and they're more comfortable with this giving aspect. Somebody might need something, and they are the sort of people that go, well, I've got something, I can give it to you. So they're very comfortable with that. But when they need something themselves, you or me or whatever, and we need something and somebody comes and offers it to us, there is this, oh, no, thank you very much, I'm fine, right? Well, what we've just done is blocked the energy flow by saying no. I mean, if you genuinely don't need it or don't want it, that's one thing. You can turn around and say, oh, well, thank you very much, but actually I don't need it, and perhaps maybe give it to this person or whatever. You're not interrupting the flow of gifting in that specific scenario. But if you're putting out to the universe that you want to receive something and it comes to you in a way that you didn't actually envision, then you are blocking it, okay? Now, Fortunata's message says is whether we desire to devote ourselves to the spiritual path or to start a business doing something that we love, we will all need to have a material reserve of money as part of caring for our material needs. And sometimes gifting or receiving a gift helps us to build this reserve. Just a bit of food for thought there. So just to summarise and outline it very clearly, the creation principles are an energy structure, okay? So Fortunata encourages you to develop your knowledge and understanding of the principles of creativity, which includes being responsible for yourself and understanding money and the financial world, to know that anything we say or think becomes what is called a creative decree. It creates energy that is generated from our thoughts and feelings, and it creates an energy structure around you as part of your aura. Now, this is going to magnetically draw others or similar energy patterns to you. So you really are advised to listen to your self-talk as you go about your day and to catch yourself, find what and where you focus your thoughts. Now, self-talk is a really big message from Fortunata, or an important one, because it's about listening to this internalized self-chatter that often goes without verbal expression. Sometimes you're going to hear and say things, because sometimes you will speak it out aloud, and that will show you what your beliefs are about money. And then she asks you to question yourself. Do you focus on what you cannot have right now? I'd really like a holiday, but I can't afford one, being an example. Or are your thoughts focused more on what you want as opposed to what you would like? If you're in paid work, what are your thoughts about your job? Are you happy in your work environment? Is your creativity being used in positive ways in your day-to-day life? If you're not in paid work, would you like to be? What is your internal self-talk telling you about your employment? Even if you're unemployed, I would like to work. I'm going to give you a couple of answers here. I'd like to have a paying job, but nobody would employ me. I don't have any skills. Okay, so if that's what you're telling yourself, that's where you will remain stuck until you realise that actually I might not be employable right now today because I don't have the skills that I need to get the job of my dreams. But what I can do right now today is actually use my creativity, source somewhere where I can actually develop those skills and make myself more marketable and generate income. And the other thing is that she says, finally, how does your lifestyle reflect your internalized attitudes about prosperity? You might, for example, have a bias against rich people and think, all sorts of bad things about them. The other thing, too, I actually just caught myself out. You will notice, I'm sure, that there's been some changes in the way I record these slides. And just an explanation there is I've got a little puppy at the moment. He's 6 months old and he's actually teething. And I just caught myself out in devaluing my own property, if you like. And by that, I mean he's teething. I think you know where this is going. I've got my favourite shoes that I wear just about every day. They're the comfy ones and they're good quality. I spend a little bit more getting them. And so the idea is that they probably have got another couple of years in them. Well, unfortunately for me, these are the shoes that he has decided that he loves to chew. So I have to be very careful to put them in places where he can't reach them. Now, it seems to be this ongoing thing. It's like having a toddler, it's repetition. And the little rascal can actually stand on his feet and get them off shelves. Now, this is why there's a change in the voice for this slide, is because I actually had to go and rescue them just then, and he's done a bit more damage to them than he normally would do. Now, my internalized response to that I caught myself on was the big sigh of, oh, it doesn't matter, it's all right. I suppose I'll just have to get a new pair. Now, that's not actually taking care of my own property, okay? If I was more watchful and more mindful, I would be caring about what I have instead of just going, okay, doesn't matter if the dog chews them up. So I've given myself a bit of a kick up the backside, as we say. I've grabbed those shoes off him. I've put them back into a safe place behind a closed door, and I will give them a wash for the next time I need them, because I think at the moment they're covered in dog slobber. So the blessing, according to Fortunata, about reviewing and reflecting upon our attitudes towards money, prosperity, and abundance is empowerment, okay? Our power lies in catching ourselves being either critical or judgmental, or, as said in the other slide with my little story, even perhaps a bit complacent, okay? We have the opportunity to choose to change from thoughts of limitation to thoughts of love, gratitude, I would say appreciation. But when we talk about love and gratitude and surrender, we're talking about the ascension attitudes. And she encourages you to reflect where the thoughts and the behaviors have come from. So it's not just a matter of catching yourself in your thoughts, but where did this thought originate? Why have I developed this thought and attitude? And then send light and healing into the beliefs that are barriers to you accessing your abundance. Now, this is what we call a choice of self-mastery, and it takes you forward into this energetic flow. Now, just a reminder, money is an object. There is nothing good or bad about it in itself. The problems around money arise when humans put money above humanitarian regard, and they make money their god instead of the creator, okay? Financial prosperity, if a person succeeds with this idea of wealth and abundance, will not only benefit the person that's making the money, but people across all layers of society. And energetically, when it's balanced, spending money actually creates more money. And when it's spent wisely, it definitely doesn't do any harm. Now, I'm well aware of people that have done very well financially who quietly donate to charities without recognition. And they might even buy houses specifically to rent. Here in Australia, I've known of a few people that are trying to help resolve their homelessness and housing crisis by buying affordable accommodation that they can then rent out at affordable, being the key word, prices for those people of low income. So, some empowering actions that you can take is if you're feeling a lack of money and deprivation and feeling very limited, it's time to put your attention on the divine. If you're being miserly and mean with your money, same deal, but loosen the purse strings a little bit. If you've got no money because you always fritter it away, start doing a budget. If you waste money, take a look at your lifestyle and your spending styles, and be responsible for your money, but at the same time, allow yourself for some treats and rewards. So, to gain the support of Fortunata, as with all the other angels, you've got to invite them in, you've got to invoke them. Always invoke the Creator first, and then perhaps your higher self, then Fortunata or whatever angel you're trying to invoke. But I've put some suggestions here, but goodness me, I'm stumbling over my words. I'm going to blame the dog. It's not the dog's fault, it's mine, but whatever. Okay, so some tips here would be ask Fortunata and your higher self to help you to realize and recognize the desires that lead you toward the fulfillment of your divine plan. Be open to asking and invoking in a way that you're open to receive universal abundance. Another thing that you could do is call upon them to help you to see the truth and to remain focused on it, and to align your mind and feelings to support your desires so that you can then open to this divine flow of energy, and so that the inspired ideas can come to you, the ideas, divine ideas, if you like, for manifestation. You will start to notice that you feel more alive as you receive these gifts of prosperity and love, and all those thoughts of lack, limitation, and deprivation, they're just going to melt away as you access and tap into this universal abundance. Don't forget, whenever you do an invocation, follow with gratitude. Remember, gratitude is one of the ascension attitudes as well. And the more grateful you are, the more abundance you actually are able to energetically attract into your aura. So if you're feeling lack and deprivation, my recommendation now would be, because it's got to start somewhere, is that you replace thoughts of lack and limitation with the old saying that I keep repeating here: thanks for blessings seen and unseen. Okay, that's a really good strategy to use as we do these energetic shifts and transform our own personal energy fields. So, my friends, that's it for today. If I haven't been clear in anything, or you've got some more questions, or you've got your own thoughts that you would like to contribute, I welcome them. I invite you to. But for now, I'm just going to say love you, leave you, catch you on the next video. Look forward to seeing your comments, and I may reply to them directly under the description, or I may actually choose to expand upon the answers on a Sunday yarning video. Yarning being a colloquial word for having a chat, okay, here in Australia. But for now, though, love you, leave you, take care, catch you on the next video. Bye bye for now.